first 30-minute session, Emig took the lead on the inside with a daring pass around turn 1. Jeff would consistently pull away in the final 15 minutes to get off to a great start, winning Moto 1. The second moto saw 16-year-old sensation Robbie Raynard out of Oklahoma take the whole shot and never look back. His 39 other riders, including Jeff Emig and Steve Lamson, tried to chase him down. Lammy, Mr. Consistency on a 125, got around Jeff and moved into second place. Emig, meanwhile, started to fade back just a little bit. Ryan Hughes gets around. Emig falls back to fourth, but Jeff eyeing the overall victory. Then, near the end, Ryan Hughes crashed hard with a face plant. Emig gets around to move into third. Raynard, meanwhile, no problems at all as he negotiates the final lap at a nonchalant pace, goes across the finish line to take the checkered flag, winning the second moto of 1994. Emig took the overall and took the points lead into Sacramento, but moto number 1 found Jeff without a bike on the starting line. An electrical problem sidelined Emig. He fell back to a 40th place finish in the first moto. Meanwhile, it was Ezra Lusk turn to shine. Lusk moving out in front, never looking back to take the victory in moto number 1. In the second moto, his Suzuki teammate Damon Huffman would also have a great day, but Steve Lamson, Mr. Consistency, would move away with the points lead after round 2. But it was Huffman's turn to shine as he does the wheelie to the delight of the fans to win the second moto. Meanwhile, on the last lap, Lusk looking to try and finish in a tie for first place, but around the last turn, he and Henry touch wheels. Lusk would go down. It cost him 2 valuable points. Then it was on to Budds Creek, Maryland for round 3. And Steve Lamson holding a 1-point advantage over Suzuki's Ezra Lusk. Lusk riding hard all day on the high-flying track. But in moto number 1, he crashed hard. A violent-looking crash. Fortunately, Ezra was okay, but he was relegated to a 33rd place finish. Meanwhile, Lamson cruised to his first moto victory of the season. In the second moto, a torrid battle between Jeff Emig and Steve Lamson. These two racing side by side, much to the delight of the 10,000 or so fans on hand to watch. But as the laps wound down, Emig would fly past Lamson. Lamson, though, would continue to hang on to second place, although he did get a challenge late in the second moto from Ryan Hughes. Lammy, though, would hold off Hughes' bid and take second. Emig, though, would cruise ahead, take the victory, but the overall would go to Lamson, who extended his points lead by 14. Round 4 at Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, saw 16-year-old Kevin Windham out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, get the whole shot. Doug Henry just couldn't keep up during the midway point of the moto. Henry falling there in the turn. He got his bike going, and he would soon catch down Windham. Windham, in only his second professional race ever, started to tire as the laps wound down. Henry makes his move on the very last lap to take over the point. Windham coast up the hill, allows the defending national champion to go on to win his first moto of the year. Henry, who had been suffering stomach problems, showing the appreciative crowd that he is back in shape and ready to contend for the title. Henry moving up to 5th in the points, 27 behind his Honda teammate Steve Lamson. And if you thought that the Outdoor 125 series couldn't get any better, well, you were wrong. Round 5, Southwick, Massachusetts. The Red Ryder teammates, Doug Henry, Steve Lamson, battling back and forth as the fans went wild. This side-by-side battling went on for most of moto number 1, with Doug Henry coming away with his second straight moto victory, Lamson not far behind. Meanwhile, in the second moto, the sand causing a problem for Jeff Emig. It sidelined him to a 36th place finish. Ezra Lusk, a problem with a broken reed valve. He would finish 33rd. Meanwhile, back up front, Doug Henry trying to make it 3 moto victories in a row, but Lamson close behind. They come out of the final turn, nearly a photo finish, but Henry holds off his teammate for the overall. Things got even more exciting and intense in Buchanan, Michigan. 3 abreast for just a little bit. Lammy, Emig, and Hughes. Emig decides to play it smart, and he drops back into 3rd place. But Jeff Emig would work his way around Ryan Hughes in the late stages of moto number 1 and began to pull away to the victory. It would be a clean sweep for Emick as he would win both motos at Redbud Track and Trail. Steve Lamson would come away with the second overall to extend his points lead to 24 over his Honda teammate Doug Henry. Ryan Hughes currently stands in third. Hello, everyone. I'm John Kernan along with Jan Beekes. And Jan, we kick off the second half of the season at a very famous place, Unadilla. Now, this place gained worldwide prominence by hosting the World 250cc Grand Prix Championship. But the surface is very unique.
Well, it really is, John. This is a full natural terrain course, and in the old days, the grass was so high all the way to the handlebars, these riders used to cut the track throughout the entire race weekend. Here, there's been amateur races yesterday. Now it's rocky, it's tough, and it's not built the way these other courses are, like Supercross or some of these other outdoor circuits. At the moment, it is tough, it's arduous, it's going to take a lot of stamina to win this one.
Well, it's a good thing that this is the 7th race of the year and not the first. The riders have had a chance to kind of ride themselves into outdoor shape. Let's take a look at the track.
Well, John, looking at the track map, it doesn't look that difficult, but believe me, those straightaways are rough, the roughest on the circuit so far. A little bit into the first lap, they'll go through the gravity cavity, one of the hairiest areas here. Speaking of hairy, it's also got big rocks.
Hello? Okay, one thing I like about New England the most is rock, for my own personal taste. Here I stand, completely surrounded by landmines. Look at this. This is the famous first turn at Unadilla, and all I can see is rock. Now, can you imagine having this thing thrown off your head, off the back of a bike, fourth gear off a 250? Not very nice. In Supercross races, not very many guys wear chest protectors. I don't know why. I bet you 20 bucks, they're all going to be wearing them today.
Rocks. They're going to be worse as the day goes on, I think. I'm in practice right now. There's a few of them coming up, but seems like the deeper the ruts get, the more rocks start coming up. So, the roost is going to be kind of bad, but the main thing we're going to have to watch out for is just getting flats, I guess.
Hello, and welcome to another sunny edition of 125 Weekly. I'm your roving Unadilla track reporter, Jerry Bernardo. Here we are on one of the more famous uphills at Unadilla. This hill is littered with holes, or in Hawaiian, pukas. Now, you come up here, pin, the outside line right here, these are like little jumps. If you don't have your suspension hooked up, you're all done. Look at this. These things are going to spit you off into the mechanics region, which is right behind me. Also, it's fallen quiet now due to the end of the 125 practice. Check out these holes. This is a rough, physically demanding track. It's going to get rutted up. It's going to get whooped out. And there's going to be, and I repeat, holes.
All right, Jerry, we are getting ready to rock and roll as you look at Jeff Emick, who's on a streak. He won both motos last week at Southwick, of course, last year. Who can forget the ride of James Dobb, the defending champion of this race? We'll be right back. Back to Unadilla Valley Sports Center, New Berlin, New York. I'm John Kernan, along with Jan Beekes and Jerry Bernardo down in the pits. And Jan, with all the rocks, you really want to get the whole shot here.
Well, I'll tell you what, you always have to get into the first turn well on any motocross race. It is the key, but here with those rocks, man, they are going to try extra hard. Let's see who gets the whole shot.
Well, it looks like everyone's going to make it through the first turn. And look at that, number 281, Ty Wallace out of Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. Looks like he got the whole shot, Jan.
Wow, he rides a Honda. He's a privateer. He's 21 years old, like you said, from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. Man, that's got to be great to get out there in front of these. Wow, he's holding his own here.
Well, Jeff Emick has moved into second place around number 90. Another surprise on the start, David Pingree. He's out of Scottsdale, Arizona. And just look as they come down the gravity cavity. Man, I tell you what, you leave your stomach down there and then bring it right back up in a hurry, Jan.
Well, you can see that the guys that have the experience, like Jeff Emick, who tries to go to the outside, he has experience here. He is in shape. He's loose on the bike. But right now, this is really working out well for our privateer.
Man, Ty Wallace is starting to pull away, put about 4 or 5 bike lengths on Jeff Emick. And, Jan, I've just been told that Steve Lamson, the points leader, has crashed down in the gravity cavity. And Jerry Bernardo is on his way down there to check it out. And we'll hear from Jerry just as soon as he gets there. But look at Ryan Hughes as he makes a move on Jeff Emick to take over the second spot.
Ryan Hughes and Jeff Emig both are in good shape. Both are very aggressive. Here he comes on the outside. Emig trying to cut in. Nope, so far Ryan Hughes is now putting the pressure up on Wallace. These two guys, I believe, are really going to go for it early.
Look how Wallace gets a little bit out of shape coming down through the whoops, and look at Ryan Hughes and Emig, the more experienced riders, take advantage of that. Now we've got, well, it was side by side for a moment, but Jeff Emig has taken over the lead, but only by about a wheel's length.
Man, can you ever see the difference between rookies and veterans? Those guys just split Wallace like he was standing still. And look at the bumps. Look how rough. Just like Jerry Bernardo talked about, this place is wearing me out already. They haven't got halfway through a lap yet, John.
And, Jan, you can see that Doug Henry has moved his way into third place. But look at these guys. They come up. That's the portion of the track that Jerry Bernardo showed you at the beginning of the race. But Jeff Emig is now running out in front, but not for long, it doesn't look like.
Wow, these guys are absolutely, they've come out of the gate, they're on the gas.
Well, we told you that Steve Lamson had crashed. Jerry Bernardo has made his way down toward the gravity cavity. Jerry, what's going on?
All right, we just tried to talk to Steve Lamson. He got planted in the bottom of the gravity cavity. He looked at me a little blurry-eyed, but he's going to talk to us later on. They're going to go over and get some ice on whatever's ailing him. Only talked to him for a minute. Took a really bad crash in Moto 1. First lap into gravity cavity.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Well, Jan Lammy taking quite a spill there, but he got up and walked around. It might be favoring his shoulder. I mean, look how the shoulder pad's torn off, and it's got to hurt.
Certainly looks as though that is, and now we can see, you can see that area of the track they do call the gravity cavity. As the leaders come through, hopefully our series points leader will be able to rejoin in the second moto.
Well, you got to figure he's going to be relegated to a 40th place finish as you see Ryan Hughes. Jeff Emig went out just a little bit too high right there, and Hughes on the inside pulled away, squirted away by a few bike lengths, and you can see some of those rocks, John. It's just amazing how these guys are able to maneuver their way through here. Look at Doug Henry. Has moved around into second place. Doug Henry now making a bid to move up front.
Well, of course, Doug Henry needs to come and salvage whatever he can for the Honda team.
Well, Ryan Hughes is starting to stretch his advantage as we are about midway through Moto number 1. Let's check into his pits with Jerry.
Chad, we don't like to make pre-race predictions, but Ryan Hughes has quite a lead going out there. He said he feels strong here at Unadilla.
There's going to be no predictions. I just want to ride good, make no mistakes, and hopefully we'll come out on top.
He's in the catbird seat right now down front with Doug Henry behind him, but they're spread out pretty far.
Yeah, it's about a 7-second lead. I just got to tell him where he sets at and just make sure he looks ahead, and we'll be okay.
Thanks, Chad.
You're welcome.
Well, right now, Rhino's pulled ahead of this man, the defending series champion, Doug Henry. But even though he's running in second place, John, he's running by himself, so he's got some clear vision.
Well, he didn't get the kind of start that he wanted, so right now, if he can maintain second place, that's pretty much what he's looking for. Remember, he has had endurance problems, and boy, any place that will show up a problem, it'll be Unadilla.
Oh, especially as you see them come up that portion of the track right there, the rocks, the ruts, the hoops or whoops, whatever you want to call them. It's just unbelievable how physically demanding this track is. Look at Doug Henry go up. He lands it on the front wheel, folks.
Also, these Honda guys did not get the kind of practice that they had hoped. Oh, look at that wasn't Jerry Bernardo, was it? Running across the track.
I think he was a little bit too pudgy for Jerry Bernardo. Jerry's more of a hard body kind of guy. Can you believe, I guess it was a fan running across the track. But let's move back just a little. James Dobb in a battle for fourth place with Ty Wallace. Remember Dobb, that great run here last year.
James Dobb from Derby, England, won here with a 1-4 finish in motos last year, got the overall victory, and this has really been Kawasaki's track over the years.
Well, right now, a Kawasaki rider has moved down in front. In fact, Ryan Hughes, as you see Ty Wallace have a little problem there. Ryan Hughes is your leader. He's followed by Doug Henry, Jeff Emig, and James Dobb. Stages at Unadilla, and there's a look at the young man who's out in front, Ryan Hughes, trying to pick up the victory in Moto number 1.
You know, Ryan Hughes has such a big lead. Look at how many riders he's lapping. We have not seen leaders of motos this year come anywhere near lapping as many riders as Ryan. Oh, Huffman's down.
And Damon Huffman coming out of the gravity cavity, we're being told, crossed it up and cartwheeled, Jan, but it looks like he's okay. He's going to have to pick that bike up, maybe have to straighten out some levers or something as you see some folks coming over to help him out. But Damon Huffman is down. Doesn't look like he's injured.
What was nice there is to see that a Kawasaki team member actually went down there to help out the Suzuki rider. It's really kind of unraveling for the Suzuki team, but let's see if he's okay and check in with Jerry in Huffman's pit.
Tony, we just saw Damon take a really bad crash coming up out of the gravity cavity. Is he all right?
He seems all right. He got right back on his bike. The front end was tweaked, so we had to straighten it out. I don't know really yet, but it looks like he's lost quite a few places.
So he's straightened out the levers and the bars, and he's hardcore jumped right back into the race trying to finish up.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we need points. He's pretty far back. We'll see what happens.
All right, thank you.
We mentioned it was unraveling for the Suzuki team. We now have further word that Ezra Lusk has withdrawn with a blown shock.
Well, you see, another one of the Kawasaki's having a good day. That's Robbie Raynard. Raynard has moved up into the 5th position now. Here's a guy we haven't really seen a lot of this year. He started out the year with a bang. He won the 2nd moto at Gainesville. Then he had some injuries, suffered in Supercross. But now he's back. He's looking like he's going to have a pretty good second half of the season.
Well, bang was the key word there. We have seen him a lot this year, but we've seen him on the ground. He has had some huge crashes. He's had broken ribs, problems with his shoulders, broken wrists. This guy, I tell you what, if he can get healthy, he is quick. But right now, he's being totally overshadowed by Ryan Hughes on not a full factory Kawasaki.
Well, speaking of Ryan Hughes, there's his teammate on that Split-Fire Hot Wheels team. That's James Dobb. He has moved up into 3rd place, and he's having a really strong run considering he dumped his bike earlier.
We saw him on the ground. We saw him get his leg actually taken off by that, not his leg taken off, but his leg taken off the peg anyway.
Yeah, I knew that's what you meant. It just had this funny image. Well, it wasn't really funny.
I tell you, he's riding pretty quick for a one-legged rider. He's doing great.
Jeff Emig has moved into the 4th position as James Dobb, that one-legged guy, had the one-armed bandit or one-armed man in the fugitive now. But Emig riding in 4th place right now. Jan, you just look at him right there. His rhythm's a little bit off.
It's hard to tell, John, because we're not riding the bike, but certainly he's not riding the way that we've seen him in the past. Looks like he's just using too much energy, and right now he does not seem to be able to catch Dobb.
And Hughes has such a huge lead as we are on the final lap. I'll tell you what, Jan, he's got to be smelling victory right now.
Well, you know, he's been so close in the past. This is not over yet, but this may be the day for Ryan Hughes. We did a great feature on him in the last race. We knew that victory was going to be coming soon. It will be the first ever outdoor victory, if he can hold on, for Ryan Hughes. Also, keep in mind, his team owner, Mitch Payton, said, any one of my riders who win here, win a moto anytime during the '94 season, I'm giving you a trip to Hawaii.
Oh, man. Halawanawana. Sounds pretty cool. I wonder if you get to pick the hotel. But Ryan Hughes, he's picking his way through the lap traffic. And, Jan, he's one of the few riders we've seen today, other than his teammate James Dobb, who incidentally has gotten around Doug Henry and moved into 2nd place. They're the ones who have not seemed to tire out as the race wore on like some of these other riders we've seen.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ryan Hughes is going to be tired, but what is important is that he looks smooth on the bike, and that seems to be what Kawasaki's secret is. We called it. Now they're 1-2 here in the first moto. This is going to be a great afternoon for Ryan Hughes.
Well, Ryan Hughes, as Jan told you, on his way, if nothing happens, to his first outdoor moto victory of his career. And, man, he's got to be a happy young man, as Jan told his story last week about his father and how he's dedicated the season to his father. I tell you, it'd be hard not to tear up. There's the checkered flag. Ryan Hughes comes across. He takes the victory, and his teammate James Dobb, there's he is running in 2nd. He should come across the line shortly. You saw him throw those goggles up. But Hughes gets the victory in moto number 1, followed by Dobb, Doug Henry, and Jeff Emig. Robbie Raynard is 5th, and as you look at the rest of the top 10, Jerry Bernardo has caught up with the winner.
Okay, Rhino, all I can say is, if you win this one, does Mitch still come through with that Hawaii trip?
Yeah, I'm going to make him come through with that Hawaii trip because I need a little vacation after this year. Went out there, rode smooth, just thought about my practice track. My practice track is real rough and curvy and not too smooth, so I just kept thinking, okay, you're out at Central riding, and you know, stay smooth, look for good lines, and that's what happened.
Yeah, you're picking up about a second a lap. You had a terrible, terrible lead going. They were really bummed out, the guys in 2nd and 3rd. Yeah, and Dobb got 2nd.
Yeah, I saw I had 15 seconds on him, so I just kind of settled in a pace, made sure I didn't do any mistakes, and came out the win.
All right, thanks, Rhino. Good job.
Also a good job for Rhino's teammate James Dobb as he got around Doug Henry in the final laps to finish in second place. And Jerry Bernardo, what are his thoughts?
All right, Jamie Dobb, the reigning champ of the 125 division here at Unadilla. Looks like that training all month with Mike LaRocco paid out in Moto 1.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, I pulled through, I got into third, and then I went down and picked it back up, got my speed going, and pushed it to the end.
You look like you're a little pasted. That track kicking your butt out there?
Yeah, it's probably the roughest track we've rode all year, except for maybe Southwick. But I'll be okay in a minute. I'll just go and have a rest and a bit of water, and I'll be fine.
Man, I love the English accent. Well, we will be back with the start of Moto number 2 after some important message. Manning this circuit is, you saw Ryan Hughes didn't look like he was worn out, but James Dobb, who finished second, he looked pretty tired.
You know, so much so that all these riders were back in the vans resting, and Ryan Hughes was the only rider out here fixing his own starting spot for Moto number 2.
There the signboard goes down. It won't be long before we see who gets the whole shot. As you look back at the line,
you can see James Dobb there. Remember, if he can have a good run here, he could still get 2 years in a row an overall victory. Let's see who pulls it out.
Well, they come up the hill. They'll go around the very first turn as they head in, and man, that is just impressive to watch. You see, Ezra Lusk is falling back. He's a little bit behind. Jeff Emig has gotten the whole shot. Oh, look at Ryan Hughes. He might have clipped David Pingree. Pingree gets smacked in the head by another rider, but he looks okay. Man.
On replay, we can see that Pingree goes down, and look at Lusk right over the top. Ow! Man, we don't know if Lusk was able to get out of the way of riders. Obviously, Pingree was not. Hopefully, he's okay. Boy, he got clocked.
Unbelievable. Look at that. There is Ezra Lusk. He is down as he went to the right. We'll have to have Jerry Bernardo check in and see if Ezra is okay. Meanwhile, back out front, it is Jeff Emig being followed closely by Doug Henry. And then remember, Ryan Hughes with that great performance in the first moto. He stands third.
Remember, we saw him in victory circle. We saw him pretty cool. He did not use all his energy. Look, he's already making a bid for second place on Henry.
And he takes it in on the inside. Doug Henry slips up just a little bit high. Side by side they come off, but Ryan Hughes has taken over the second spot.
I tell you what, it definitely looked like he saved energy in the first moto, and it was Jeff Emig who did not have a rhythm in the first moto. Now Jeff Emig has clear track. Can he develop a good rhythm here, or is he still struggling for good lines?
I tell you what, after seeing the performance that Ryan Hughes put on in the first moto, if I were Jeff Emig, I might be looking over my shoulder by now.
Well, we'll have to see. It certainly looks as though Emig at the moment is being able to hold that, but we're not even at the completion of lap 1.
That's right. It's very early in the stages of Moto number 2. There you see Doug Henry is riding along in third place. Right now, Jeff Emig has to be thinking, I've got to stay smooth. I've got to run my own line, right?
Well, he's really trying to get that rhythm back that we talked about so much. But look at Ryan Hughes. He definitely is going to go out and stamp his authority on this racetrack. Oh, he gets some good grip there, goes into the loose stuff, and just tries to rock it out there. But it actually looks like the Yamaha of Emig got better drive.
Well, there you see the yellow flag as they come around to complete the first lap. That's because, of course, Ezra Lusk has been off to the side. There you see Ezra is up now and watching the other competitors as he, of course, dropped out of the first moto and he's out of the second one, John.
I can guarantee you, John, that either something is wrong with the bike or he's injured or he'd be on the bike.
All right, now Ezra Lusk is sidelined. He's standing by with Jerry Bernardo. Let's get the answer to those questions. Jerry?
Ezra, he took a bad crash. Tell me what happened. Somebody cut over in front of Pingree and he crashed, and then I hit him, and I was trying to get up, and I just knew someone was going to hit me, and I just sprinted over to my bike. Or I tried to get up, and I didn't get up quick enough, and somebody hit me right in the back. I think it's the lower top part of my butt. I don't know. It hurts right now. I'll probably go get checked.
All right, you're just a little muscle sore, though, but you got planted from behind. You knew it was coming, though, huh? You were trying to get out of there?
Yeah, I knew it was coming. I was trying to get out as soon as I could. But after my first moto finish, I had to start from the very outside, and I come out of the gate really good. My Suzuki pulled all the way up that straightaway, and I come out real good. But it just happens, you know. Just going to go back and come back stronger.
All right, thanks for talking with us, Ezra.
No problem.
Well, yeah, it's good to see that he's up and moving around and not hurt too badly.
But it does not get more disappointing than that. A blown shock in the first moto and then injured in the second. There'll be no points at all here. Wow, Ryan Hughes is not. Oh, man, nice move.
Ryan Hughes takes away the spot from Jeff Emig, but look at Emig come right back on the inside. Looks like we've got a battle shaping up here in the early stages of Moto number 2 at Unadilla.
Jeff Emig seems to have regained some of the composure that we've seen him have all year. Right now, these two guys, probably with the greatest confidence of any two riders on the circuit, the most aggressive. I love to see these guys go handlebar to handlebar.
Well, we noticed that most of the year we've seen Jeff Emig ride patiently and be very, very patient and save his energy. As you see now, Ryan Hughes once again making a bid as they come up the hill past the fans, side by side off the jump. Rhino crisscrosses behind, and what a nice move there to take over the lead.
That was beautiful. He actually doubled one there, a small one that Emig took a single, but it's not over. That's where it's loose. They come in and try and square it off. Oh, I think Emig lost some time there.
Looks like he cut it off just a little bit too, he went in too late, Jan, and it planted more, and he had to stop to regain his balance. But look at back in the battle for third and fourth. It looked like Robbie Raynard in fourth and Doug Henry is in third.
Yeah, those two guys are going at it as well. That is one thing that when you're running in third place, you're hoping the first and second place guys are thinking more about racing each other instead of going fast. And speaking of that, they are racing each other.
Down the hill they come, up across the jump. Jeff Emig has the top spot momentarily. Emig, you know, running behind Ryan Hughes, may have gone to school on him for what line he was running.
Well, you know, Ryan Hughes definitely has the best lines of any rider here, judging by the way he ran the first moto. And it looks like Jeff Emig went to school on that, figured out where he was running, and obviously it's paying off big dividends for Emig on the Yamaha right now.
Well, we've got a nice four-bike battle up front, as you see. Look at Ryan Hughes gets a little squirrely right there. That allows Jeff Emig to pull away, and Doug Henry gets just a little bit closer. Of course, Robbie Raynard is also in the mix.
This is going to be great. We're going to see all four bikes going for it. This is the kind of racing that Unadilla is famous for. Let's take a look at some of these replays. This is the first pass that we saw. Look at this. He'll double it. Man, that is one great pass that we have there by Ryan Hughes. But it's not over, because here comes Emig down the hill, even from the high shot. Look at the air they get on this jump right here. Flying through the air. Nice move there.
Jan Beekes, nice sound effects. I really enjoyed it. You know that move that Ryan Hughes put on Jeff Emig? Kind of was. Now he makes another move. That crisscross, it was almost like splitting the draft behind the car in a stock car to make a pass. And look at Ryan Hughes as oh, look at Jeff Emig. He has a little bit of a problem there, Jan.
Ooh, Emig got in trouble in the loose stuff, and wow, look how much he lost, how much distance. Doug Henry, almost got the position. If you get in that loose stuff and you don't get the drive and you get wheel spin, you don't have traction control on a motocross bike. It has to all be done with the wrist.
Well, now we've got a side-by-side battle for second place. Doug Henry momentarily got up side-by-side. Now he's going to try to reel in Jeff Emig, but Ryan Hughes is starting to put a little distance out front.
Well, now we get a chance to see on replay what happened to Emig. You can see it's getting really loose down there, and right there, it just skids out. He gets wheel spin, he loses his momentum, and now we can see Doug Henry coming up and really taking advantage.
Well, it almost shot him whenever he hit the gas, let the clutch out. It almost shot him right off the track. And look at Doug Henry come up on the outside. Now they'll try and set up for this left-hander, and Doug Henry gets in it before Jeff Emig. Doug Henry has moved into second place.
He started on the outside, which set him up for the inside to the next turn. He got better traction. We have to hope for Jeff Emig's case that he does not lose his confidence and fall back like he did in the first moto.
Well, remember in the first moto, Steve Lamson finished dead last, 40th. The shoulder is hurting him just a little bit, but he is out here. He is toughing it out right now. He's in 7th place, as a matter of fact. We'll be right back. Unadilla, Jan Beekes, Jerry Bernardo, along with yours truly, John Kernan, bringing you Moto number 2 action. And Jan, we've got a rider down. It's Chad Pedersen, I believe, and he's being attended to by one of the turn workers. We certainly hope that he turns out to be okay, not seriously injured. Not quite sure exactly what happened there, but Chad Pedersen down. Now we look at Jeff Emig, who's trying to hold off Robbie Raynard for the 3rd position.
Robbie Raynard is a guy who, when he is in form, he is very loose on the bike. Let's watch the two different riding styles here and see as Robbie Raynard on the factory Kawasaki, who's challenging the factory Yamaha of Emig. Let's see the difference in those styles.
We saw Emig get out front early. but he has started to fade here in the second moto. And look at Robbie Raynard closing it up. They'll come down the hill, down the inside, through some of the ruts, up the hill, past the spectators. And Robbie Raynard has really cut into that advantage. In fact, Jan, he's side by side, basically.
Can you see how smooth he looks on the bike? He absolutely looks like he's not working hard at all. Whereas with Jeff Emig, the bike's flying all over the place.
Well, Jeff Emig right now holds on to the third spot, not for long. Emig has had a problem with that turn all day long, and Robbie Raynard takes advantage of that move right there, that little bobble by Emig, and scoots around into third.
You know, in auto racing, the most important corner is always before the longest straightaway. Here in motocross, it's one where you have long bits of acceleration. What happens here, he comes down in, right there, Raynard kind of takes the line away, but the real problem for Emig is he just can't get the drive coming out of that turn.
Well, Jeff Emig having a little bit of a problem there. He has fallen back to fourth. There's the look at the two leaders. Let's check in with Jerry.
Chad, it looks like we got a nice race. We got Ryan out front with #1 plate right behind him with Doug Henry.
Yeah, I'm sure he feels a little bit of pressure, but hopefully he won't make no mistakes and just look ahead and he'll be doing just fine.
He said this track reminds him of his track at home. It's all crappy and rough.
Yeah, that's what he's used to in California. No traction, no nothing, just crappy.
He's got an air of confidence, though, having shredded the first moto. Must feel good about that, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but that's the latest thing in his mind right now. He's just worried about this one.
And we know not to get cocky in these interviews, don't we?
I'm never getting cocky.
Thanks.
I don't know, Jerry. I'm not sure if you can say crappy on cable. Oh, speaking of crappy, it looks like Doug Henry. Let's look at replay. He got in there. They're very close. They almost touch. It washes out, gets on the power just a little too early. That gives a big lead for Ryan Hughes.
Of course you can say crappy on cable television, Jan. It's a kind of fish, isn't it?
I guess so. Speaking of that, in which the word was used to describe the practice track for Ryan Hughes, he does have a very rough practice track, and according to David Bailey, who is of course our analyst on the 250 shows, he says that Ryan Hughes is one of the toughest trainers he's ever seen.
Well, that's paying off right now at this tough racetrack. Ryan Hughes is your leader. We'll be back. Unadilla, as we are just past the halfway point. The defending national champion Doug Henry is sitting in second place, followed by Robbie Raynard.
This has turned out to be a great three-way battle right now. It's kind of a Honda sandwich is what it is. We talked about it a little bit earlier but didn't get to finish, that the Honda bikes and riders did not get the kind of practice they normally do the week before this race, because all the riders were at a Honda dealers convention in Las Vegas. They all had to go there for personal appearances, and these bikes did not arrive until yesterday morning by Federal Express.
By Federal Express. If you got to get them over there overnight, I guess. Doug Henry right now is running in second place. Robbie Raynard is putting the charge on pretty well, but it looks like Doug has been alerted to his presence and is maintaining his position right now.
Wow, look at him fly out of the gravity cavity. I think that's the greatest name for a section of the track. And right now, they're feeling that gravity because these guys are starting to weary and get tired.
Well, we have mentioned about how just physically demanding that this course is, and you can see it. I mean, you can see this on television, Jan. A lot of times on TV, it doesn't do justice to just how tough a time these riders are having, but I think these are some great pictures the guys have gotten for us, and you can just see it beats us up just watching.
Absolutely, and you'll have to look at the way these guys are trying so hard to find the smooth lines because it is so rough. A slight change in line makes a huge difference in the overall lap times.
Well, we'd seen earlier Doug Henry coming off a small jump, landing on his front wheel. He landed on a rock. He could have pitched the front wheel forward. He could have came tumbling over and done a face plant. I tell you, I'm really impressed with Ryan Hughes. He has just been a master today on this course, and Doug Henry is just trying to maintain second place. If Rhino can stay on the track, I don't think anybody's going to catch him.
Not only is no one going to catch him, but we are now going to have to start thinking about points, because Ryan Hughes, if he goes on to win this, and with the problems that Steve Lamson had, it's going to make a huge change up front.
Well, if we look back at the points, Rhino came in today. He was only 33 points behind Steve Lamson. So we are looking for some possible major shakeups as you look at Robbie Raynard in the point standings. Let's check in with Robbie's pit and Jerry.
All right, Mr. Raynard, Robbie finished 5th in the first moto, and he's running a strong 3rd right now. What's going on with him as far as you can tell?
He's trying to show me he can do it. That's what we've been arguing a little bit about here lately. He hasn't shown, but he's got a lot of problems with his shoulder. He bent that screw, and it's giving him a lot of pain, but he says he wants to keep trying. He doesn't want to have it fixed now.
A little father to son. Show me you can. Show us the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, a bent screw in his shoulder. Imagine just how painful that must be.
And yet he's still riding this hard. I think it brings up another point at how important fathers are to each of these riders, because they start so young. It's always the fathers that get them started that are the mechanics, and in that particular case, Robbie Raynard wants his dad to work on the bike and nobody else.
Well, they fly through the picture once again. Ryan Hughes is pulling away, but look at Robbie Raynard. He is really closing up the distance on Doug Henry. Now, we mentioned about the Kawasaki's having just a seemingly insurmountable advantage here at this place. As you look at the interval right there, what was that? That was about 7-8 seconds.
That was a huge interval in motocross racing, and Ryan Hughes has got things going exactly the way that he wants to. But these two guys right here are yet, I think, to determine the outcome of this one.
Well, Ryan Hughes, of course, in the first moto, as you look at Raynard going to the inside, man, he made that look very easy as he takes over second place over Doug Henry.
Well, that could be part of the secret. We certainly see that not only the Pro Circuit Hot Wheels split-fire Kawasaki's, but also here the factory Kawasaki's really get traction.
Ryan Hughes continues to lead. We will be back with the closing laps. And, Jan, we have to give a call for Steve Lamson, the points leader.
Well, he's making a move here. This is for position. He's going to the inside. He picks up another one. Gosh, with as hard as his shoulder got hit, this guy really is trying hard to maintain that points lead.
Well, he's in the 6th spot right now. He got credited with a 40th place finish in Moto number 1. It's just such a gutsy move as he comes back here in the second one. He's running in the 6th spot. If he stays where he is right now, is that going to be good enough to maintain the points lead?
Well, he had a good battle going there with Craig Decker, and we're going to have to check the statistics, but I think that if Ryan Hughes stays where he is, if he can win this moto, as we are in the final lap and we see Ryan Hughes, he will go out of here not only with the overall victory, but with the points lead.
Well, Ryan Hughes has to be very, very excited. He stretched his advantage to a little more than about 8 seconds as he maneuvers around the track on his final lap. Rhino coming away with his first outdoor victory ever in the first moto, and there's the checkered flag. That is a clean sweep. The 3rd week in a row we've had riders do the clean sweep, and Rhino has to be very happy. He gets off the bike, and look at that, a hug for Chad Watts. Ryan Hughes comes away with the victory. He's followed by Robbie Raynard, Jeff Emick, Doug Henry, and James Dobb. Another fine performance. And as you look at the rest of the top 10, Jerry Bernardo is standing by with our winner.
Rhino this morning, first moto win. Repeat, second moto win, first overall. You tell me.
Well, I have someone up there looking out for me. I know I do. Everything just went too perfect today. I rode a good race. I rode smart. I was smooth. I pulled away from everybody. That's how I want it to be the rest of the series.
All right, all I can say is if Mitch doesn't come across with that trip to Hawaii, you tell me and I'll call him up and I'll foul every spark plug he ever makes.
Don't worry, I'll call him and tell him.
All right, good job, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Check this out. What it doesn't show you, 2nd through 5th, they all garnered 38 points, but because their finishes in the second moto, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th determine their overall position. Well, Robbie Raynard's finished 2nd. He's with Jerry.
All right, Robbie Raynard had a good second moto finish. I see you got a flat tire. How'd you pick that up?
About 6 laps to the end of the race, I got it, and then I just tried to ride with it. I made a couple mistakes the first lap I got it, and then I just kind of got used to it and just kept riding.
How'd you feel when you moved up in a second?
I feel pretty good. My legs pumped up for some reason. I've never had my legs get tired on me, and I got to work them out.
All right, we talked to your dad a couple of times, interviewed him while you were out there racing. He said, show me you can, and you did today. How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good, but I need to exercise a little bit more, get in better shape still, because first moto, my arms pumped, and they relaxed that by halfway, but they shouldn't be doing that.
All right, you've had kind of an on and off season all year long. You must feel a little bit better with this showing in Moto 2 here at Unadilla.
Yeah, I just wish I could pit 2 motos together. I did pretty good. I was pretty consistent today. The first moto, I came from way behind. I got a real bad start, and I just tried to get a good start. The second moto, I wheelied halfway down the start, and I just tried to go.
Ryan Hughes has gone right to the top of the point standings by 2 over Steve Lamson. Look at that, 13 points separate the top 4 riders.
All right, Jeff, you pulled the third in the second moto. How'd it go for you?
You know, I started up front again, but I just wasn't really riding that great today. I mean, I guess it showed. You know, I got smoked today, but you know, I guess you got to take some, you know, something good with the bad, and we're looking for the championship. And I know that we picked up points towards the championship. You know, we lost a few points on Ryan Hughes, but you know, there's 5 races left. You know, I'm ready to get the points back there.
It's funny when you say something like you got smoked, but you still ran third in front of an impressive field out here in Unadilla. It's just you're only happy with first, right?
Yeah, you know, pretty much. You know, if I don't win, then you know, then I've had a bad day.
You know, John, that sounds really cocky, but you have to have that kind of attitude if you wanted to go to the front here in motocross or any form of racing. You got to know you can do it.
Well, we are 7 races through the 12-race schedule, and Jan, we've got a great points battle shaping up. Emig is in 4th, but he's only 13 points behind. For Jerry Bernardo and Jan Beekes, this is John Kernan saying so long, everybody. We'll see you next week from Troy, Ohio.